All right, what up, folks? As you can see, this is not a ride sharing video. I repeat, this is not a ride sharing video. Just it's a slow night, it's a slow news night, so I figured I'd come in here and talk to the folks. As you can see on the monitor behind me, I think it is fairly self explanatory in regards to what we're going to be discussing tonight. But I know a lot of folks might disagree with what is on the monitor behind yours truly, but that's why I wanted to come in here and talk to the folks because based on the analysis of your humble correspondent, yours truly, this does seem to be the case. And that's what we're going to be asking is why is it that the GOP, the Republican side of the aisle, have such a huge issue with the transgendered community? So what we're asking is, what is this community doing wrong? How have they fallen so far out of favor with the Republican Party? And last but not least, is there anything in particular that the transgendered community can do to put themselves back in a better light? Or I won't even say back in a better light, but is there anything they can do to put themselves in a better light with the Republican side of the aisle? Looking in the comments real quick. As always, folks, I just wanted to come in here. Like I said, this is a impromptu live on a Friday night. Happy Friday to all you folks. As I say all the time, for any of you folks who have never watched my lives, this live is always MAGA friendly. It is and shall always remain MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome too. But just asking that question, is there anything the transgender community can do to make themselves a little bit more friendly to the Republican Party? Because it does seem like the Republican Party has no tolerance at all for this community. So just want to ask that question. We're going to go straight to the box. This is a different type of live this evening, but let's keep it going with Orca. Now, that's the question. Is there anything they can do to get themselves out of this, what appears to be just a downward spiral in regards to the Republican Party? Now, Orcamedes, I was trying to bring a guest on. I don't know what has happened already, but it doesn't seem like that guest is going to come through. Republicans hate everything. What does that say? Hate everything that they are afraid of, and they fear everything, says Jim. You think the Republican Party hates everything? Wow. Ask Lindsey Graham. I know his dressmaker. Okay, well well, I'm having trouble with the guests. I want to run something by you. I brought it up in my other live. I want you
Is
guys.
there?
Okay, there we go. Working me. I can see you now. I don't know what took so
Hold
long, but
on.
can you hear me? Orcamedes, can you hear
I
me?
can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, as you see on the monitor,
Yeah.
why does the GOP
Oh
have such
no.
an issue with the transgender community?
Oh no. Is the internet unstable again? I can
Okay.
hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's
Mm,
we have some type of a bad connection. Can you hear me
I
at
think
all now?
so. I
Okay.
can
All
hear
right.
you.
Well, I can hear you. Okay, I don't know what's going on. We'll try it again. You're asking a marginalized community how they can change so their oppressors can accept them. Luna, actually, it may sound that way, but I'm just simply saying, and I don't want to make it appear as if I'm asking the LGBT community or if I'm specifically asking the Republican community. I'm just simply saying, in general, in terms of unity, in terms of getting this together, what can be done so that the Republicans and the LGBT community are not as odd at so much odds as they currently are. If I can get that out grammatically, but the communities are obviously at odds. What can be done to make it so that the Republicans and the LGBT community have no issues with each other? That's the question I'm asking. Why do you assume they are hated? Well, that's a good question, Fancy Prancy. As I stated before, and I'll go ahead and run a clip and then I'll go straight back to the box. I see somebody said vote them out. Um, the reason I'm suggesting hated is because I mentioned this before. This is proposed legislation by President Trump. He mentioned this at CPAC if he is reelected?
As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also...
Okay, I'll interrupt it there. If Trump gets his way and he gets Congress to recognize gender by what it is at birth, wouldn't that mean that the LGBT community would cease to exist in the eyes of government? If they are going to continue to recognize you the way you were at birth, that would essentially mean you cannot transition. So when I put up on the screen hatred, do you see love there? Maybe I'm getting it wrong. Do you see, looking at the Republican Party, love for the transgender community? Do you see where they even want them to coexist? That's what we're asking. And in the comments, I see making you mad or something says sounds. What do you say? Sounds awesome, and that's kind of what we're talking about. A lot of members of the Republican Party like what Trump is proposing, but if you are transgender, it essentially prevents you from existing. It removes you completely from existence in the eyes of government. Just like he can put in to say that black people don't exist, only white people do. Stiller fan, wow. Do you think there's any chance that Trump would ever do that? Jesus, that's frightening. Democrats are losing the black vote, so they got to go. Blue, I can't pronounce the name. Do you really believe that the Democrats are losing the African American vote? If so, show me anything that suggests that. That suggests how they're defining African Americans losing the black vote. Remember the walk-away movement was going to walk away from the Democratic plantation and vote for Trump? What happened to that? The Democrats are losing the black vote. Who are they losing it to? I'd be curious to ask that. Who are the Democrats losing the black vote to? Are they just simply not showing up and voting on election day? Or are you suggesting the number of black supporters of the Republican Party is skyrocketing? Let me know what you're talking about. What have they done to gain black votes? Asked Leon Archer. I'll go right back to the box shortly. What has the Democratic Party done to gain black votes? Existed. In my opinion, my humble opinion, they don't have to do much. If you got the Republican Party, for the most part, ignoring the African American community, essentially suggesting that we are better for African Americans, but the African American community needs to find us because we're not going to come in your neighborhoods and things like that. Well, the Democrat Party don't have to do much, do they? If you're not talking to African Americans, they don't. You make it kind of easy for the Democrats. They don't need to really do much at all, and some would argue that they do not. But the Republican Party, for the most part, avoids us. They don't really, for the most part, when you see Republicans discussing African Americans, it's how much crime we commit. So the Democrats don't have to do a whole lot to beat that. Let's try the box this time. Eddie currently. I don't know what the hell's going on with the box this evening, but we'll give it a shot. Slavery was started and supported by the Democrats. Laughing my ass off. That is true. Good afternoon, Eddie.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Now, I had a screenshot. I don't know if you saw it earlier about the way Republicans tend to view the screenshot behind me. Do you see any type of dislike towards the transgender community from Republicans?
Oh, they absolutely despise them for some reason.
Then why do so many of them say that's not true? We don't have a problem with the LGBT community. We just don't want you shoving it down our kids. Why do they deny that?
How are they shoving it down their kids? That's the one I don't get. It's just like
I don't get it either.
There aren't any pop-up drag queen shows that just show up out on the street, They plan that and they have it in a building somewhere. They don't just like have it in a park on a Saturday. All of a sudden, we're going to have a drag queen show. Let's go out there to the park,
Yeah. How about this phrase? How about this? In the comments, Red Rooster says, we don't despise them, just don't flaunt it. How do you flaunt being transgender?
Well, they don't want them dressing funny or being different. They don't like different because
Wouldn't that be?
they're insecure in their manhood.
You think that's the cause? You think that's the reason?
Oh, that's a good part of it.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
I mean,
but if you say you don't want them dressing and
well,
being different, go
look
ahead.
at the vehicles they drive. They're all
What do you
about this jacked up 4x4 compensating for something they don't have. People,
mean?
they
Come
spend
on,
more
there's
on
got
the
to be
money.
some. Are you
They spend
suggesting
more
that
money
there
on
are?
their trucks than they do their houses.
Are you suggesting that there are no Republicans that drive a Prius?
Uh, they're not Republicans driving Prius. Come on,
Okay.
man.
So, so at the end of the day,
Unless he's like an ultra conservative tight ass that poops out little
yeah.
pellets. You know?
So let me ask you this: at the end of the day, what can be done by these two groups, the GOP and the transgender community, so that they can be more friendly or coexist with each other? Is there anything that can be done?
It's just going to take time because when the Republican Party's gone in the next 10 or 15 years, it won't matter anymore.
You think the Republican Party is in danger of going away?
Yeah, they're literally trying to commit unliving themselves
Give
in
me.
their actions.
Okay. By the way, folks, tap the screen, get your boy up to 5,000. It helps the algorithms. You know, this is a MAGA friendly program, so it does bring more MAGA. But in regards to the idea that Republicans are trying to quote unquote unalive themselves, give me some examples. What makes you say that?
Well, the laws they pass laws that will never ever affect themselves. Sorry, my maps are on. I'll turn it off.
What do you mean when you say they pass laws that will not affect themselves? I don't understand that.
Well, they pass abortion laws, but they're going to find out when finally one of their wives is 7 months pregnant and has an eclampsia or some other weird thing. They're going to find out that law that they passed was some of the dumbest shit on the
Yeah.
planet. I mean,
Yeah.
I've said it before to you. We talked about it before. Women that have late term abortions don't do it because they want to. They want to
True.
continue
Yeah.
living. They're so
Yeah.
pro-life. They're so pro-life. They don't care about the woman's life, and they don't care about the baby once it's born. They just want you
Mhm.
to have that baby, and,
Wow.
and they keep passing laws. Look, they're trying to kill food for children in schools. They're trying to take away funding in their new tax plan to take lunches away from impoverished
Why?
kids that don't even get
Why do you
a
think?
decent
Why do
meal.
you think they would be? Why do you think they would be in favor of doing something that really sounds cruel? Why do you think they would even be in favor of
Because they're
doing that?
the party of hate, dude. Right now,
Jesus.
they are the party of hate.
Wow.
I mean,
God.
they're basically trying to unalive all the people they don't like, just like another man did. His name started with an H and it ended with an R. And they're doing that. Yeah, they're just like that party. That they're following the damn playbook. You start
You're
taking away one group's of people's freedoms, and you take the next group of people's freedoms, and eventually they get your freedoms. And what I tell people all the time, and I heard this on TikTok the other day: if we don't have self governance over our own bodies, we are not free. Period.
yeah.
And I've said it
You're,
to you
you're,
before. I heard it on
you're,
TikTok, and I truly believe it. And
yeah,
I get
you're not the only one. You're not the only one I've ever heard
yeah,
say that. But what
yeah.
about the idea that they believe that they're doing that to protect the sanctity of the unborn?
Uh, a fetus is not a baby until it's got brain activity. Yes, their heartbeat laws don't even work because they say the heartbeat starts at 6 weeks, which is not true. It starts from like 9 weeks to 13 weeks. There's no rhyme or reason when it starts. Do you know what the first part of the body is made in the womb?
No.
And we're all this way, but they're the worst ones right now, and it's called the butthole. But I'm not going to say the other word.
All right, Eddie. All right, I got to move it
Hey,
on.
just a little information for you. Do you know when you eat
Sure.
Mexican food and it kind of like you can taste it twice?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know
Yeah.
this, but your anus has the same flesh and taste buds that your lips have.
I gotta go. I gotta go. Yuck. All
It's
right,
true.
man.
It's look it up.
Okay.
Look it up. All
You
right.
you
Have a
you
good one.
you frightened me. Appreciate it. Come on back anytime. All right. Oh my God. Okay.
In the comment section, hate is a strong word. What does that say? Hate is a strong word, but America is upside down and the devil is working overtime. Well, I do agree. Hate is a strong word, but I mean, I could have put dislike in there, but there is no denying that the way Republicans view the transgender community is not love. It's not even coexisting. So this word kind of fits what I personally am seeing, which is why I'm here to talk to you folks. If you're seeing something different, that's what we're going to be here for, is for you to let me know. Tap the screen, get your boy up to 10,000. Do appreciate you folks tapping the screen on this impromptu Friday live, because I was in another live and I heard something similar and I wanted to kind of hear what you folks had to say on this. As always, you know what I make a promise. I don't ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. You don't have to agree with me on this program. I'm not going to censor or ban you for your point of view just because it's not my own. It's not about that here. We let you speak. The program is and always shall remain MAGA friendly in its entirety. MAGA are my preferred guests, but liberals are welcome as well. Looking in the comments, Snuggles was passing me off in the live. You were in, yeah. I like Snuggles though. It's not hate. Stop trying to shove it down our throat. Bernie, I don't know. I would love to have somebody define what is shoving something down a person's throat. That's because I'm hearing that quite often, that the transgender community is quote unquote shoving their lifestyle down people's throats. I would love to hear how that is defined. Let me go to the box. We'll keep it moving. Just let me sleep. Good evening, rather. Welcome to the impromptu live here. Just let me sleep. Good evening.
Hi, how are you today?
Very good, very good. You see what's on the monitor behind me? Do you have any answer for that?
I sure do. And me as a Republican, I do not hate transgender people. I don't hate anyone. Um, but I will say that Republicans don't like it being forced down our throats. And what we mean by that is our children are being exposed to transgender people. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like if you look at Gay Pride Month and when they do the parades and stuff, people bring their kids. And the transgender, well, the whole community actually, they sexualize everything. There's people walking around with their butts hanging out. They're very flamboyant. They just sexualize everything. And that's being exposed to our children. And no child should be at any of those parades. They're teaching it at schools. We're constantly seeing it on social media, on television. So it's being forced down our throats.
Well, wait a minute.
Really,
Wait a minute. You and I are on social media. Are we shoving ourselves down somebody's throat? I mean, why can't they be on social media? We're here.
it's fine that they're on social media, but it's not okay when every commercial and every TV show and every this and every that, it's everywhere. Like it's being shoved down our
But once
throats, and that's what we
again,
don't like.
yeah, but once again, you people that look like you, people that look like me are on every commercial. We're in every movie, every TV show. Why is it that they're facing some type of limitation that you or I may not?
Well, they can be on every commercial, every TV show, but keep it classy, not to where it's being sexualized or like sexualizing everything where children are going to see it. Don't teach it at school because there's no place at school for that to be taught. Like,
Did you have a problem? Did you have a problem with Al Bundy and Married with Children or Baywatch. I mean, you talk about sexualizing. Sexualization has been on television since TV was created. Why is it all of a sudden an issue when this group of people do it?
Well, I wasn't allowed to watch that stuff. I was very sheltered, so I didn't grow up watching things like that.
But it's on
Um,
TV now. There are plenty of shows on TV right now that are sexualized shows that have nothing to do with the LGBT community. Do you have a problem with those shows as well?
Absolutely. It shouldn't be exposed like accessible to our children or as easily accessible to our children. It's everywhere. Like it doesn't just have to do with that community alone. It has to do with everything because sex is everywhere and it's very accessible to our children and it shouldn't be.
But
Um,
the question I'm trying to ask, I suppose, is why not just stop your kid from watching it? Your child can get on Pornhub and watch sexual sex if they really want to. I mean, it's not that hard for the average child to access Pornhub and see it taking place. So why are we pretending like the transgender community is doing something that they don't already have access to? Children can find sex very easy in the internet age. I don't see why all of a sudden the transgender community is getting this special label.
I don't know why they're getting this special label. I can't speak on that because I really don't know. Um, but that's just my take on it.
Okay.
And I think it's confusing kids. Like they're trying to make it seem like it's the cool thing. Like, yeah, it's fine if you're transgender. Really, no Republican that I know really gives a. I don't want to cuss because I don't want to get you kicked off of
Fair
TikTok.
enough. You can
But
swear. Just yeah. Go ahead.
nobody really cares who you're sleeping with, who has an interest in who, if it's the same sex, different sex, if you want to think if you're biologically male and you think you're a female, fine, or vice versa. If you think you're a freaking cat, whatever. Like, just don't force it on us. That's all we care
How?
about. Don't
Okay.
force
So
it on us.
give me an example. You're navigating through life. Give me an example of how transgenders people are forcing themselves on you.
They aren't forcing themselves on me because I mean, I know plenty of people that are my nephew. He's going, I don't know what he's going through, but he's experimenting, I guess.
Yeah,
Same
but
with
you
my
said
daughter, but
forcing. You said don't force it. You said don't force
I
it.
don't
The
want
only
it up in
way.
my face. What you do behind closed doors, whatever. Wait, like I just don't want it up in my face and like
How is it? Give me an example of how it would be in your face.
um I don't want to constantly see it or be reminded or be called homophobe or transphobe because I disagree with it or what. I'm not saying that I do, but if somebody has a question, then they're like, "Oh, you're transphobe." And that's not the case. Like transphobic, if I was sitting there and saying, "Oh, you're not really human because you're transphobic," or sorry, because you're
Yeah, but
trans,
that's not
then
the
that's
question.
transphobic.
When I asked you how is it up in your face, you said in regards to seeing it. If you see heterosexual couples walking in the park holding hands, do you think that's forcing heterosexual life on everybody?
I'm fine with seeing people holding hands. That's fine. But like shoving it in my face, like, oh, yeah, I'm transgender, or I've never had that happen. I don't know if people actually do that. But if somebody were to do that, like shove it in my face that they're transgender
I
or
don't
whatever,
think
like,
that.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't like that.
and that's the point I'm trying to make. Just let me is I don't think transgender people go around walking up to people saying I'm transgender. I don't think that shoving is happening.
It may not be. I mean, I personally haven't seen it. Um, but I think that's something that Republicans may be afraid of or think that it's happening. I don't know.
Why do you think they think that? I mean, when the average American can say nobody's ever walked up to me and said, "Hey, I'm transgender." I mean, out of my viewers watching, how many of you folks have had just a stranger walk up to you and say, "Hey, I'm transgender"? Because I'm trying to find out where's that coming from.
Good question.
Let
But
me
yeah, I
let me
don't
ask
have
it to you.
answers
Let me
to
ask
that.
it to you this way. Let me ask it to you this way. If you're walking down the street and somebody comes up to you and start talking about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, do you think they're forcing religion on you?
Uh, no, but I do feel like they're forcing their religion on me when they come to my, like Mormons. I've had plenty of Mormons come to my home, and I feel like they try to push their religion on me.
Well, see, this is where I'm confused. If I come up and tell you I'm transgender, I'm forcing myself on you. If I tell you I'm Christian, it's not. How are you distinguishing the two?
Uh, well, I don't. If somebody were to tell me that they're transgender, I'm not going to think that that's pushing it on me. That's just telling me, hey, this is how I am. Okay, great. But
Okay.
like
Well,
always talking about it or always like shoving it down my throat that they're transgender or whatever, like
yeah,
that
but
would
you
get on my
but
nerves.
But that's what I'm saying. When you look at our money, it says "In God We Trust." It's on license plates. It's in our national anthem. You know, "God Bless America." We said, do you see this country is forcing Christianity down the throats of people? It's everywhere, as you pointed. Do you see us as shoving Christianity down the throats of our citizens?
No, that's the roots of our nation. Like we were built on Christianity.
I, I, I understand we're built on Christianity, but is it perhaps is one of the reasons we're built on Christianity is because we shoved it down the throats of citizens? Keep in mind, being African American, wherever the hell I came from, they were not practicing Christians. We were told either you go by what's in this Bible or you will be lynched. Do you don't see shoving Christianity down the throats of Americans at all?
I think back in the day it may have been because that's what they did. Nowadays people have the freedom to believe or not believe and to believe in different gods if they choose to. Um, so at this day and age, I don't feel like it's necessarily shoved down people's throats. I think it's more
So and
like
I agree with
education.
you. I totally agree you have more freedom of religion now than you used to. But when you hear folks on the right, Republicans, say we need to bring prayer back in schools, does that sound like any shoving to you?
No, because that's just their beliefs.
Like believing you're transgender?
That is different
How?
because because I can say, oh, I'm a guy all I want. I can pretend, I can dress up, I can act, I can have the surgery, but I'm still biologically a female. I'm still a female no matter what because that's what I was born as. You cannot do anything to make me a man and vice
Let me
versa.
let me take what you said and ask you a question. I understand this question may be. I'm not trying to insult anybody that may be watching the program, but it's in regards to religion. You pointed out you can say you are a man, but if you're born with female genitalia, you are a woman, or vice versa. What about folks that would suggest once you pass away, you're in a better place? If I can look down, how about I say, no, you're dead. You're not in a better place. I'm looking at you. You are dead. Is it possible that even when it comes to religion, people can be imagining things? You're talking about in terms of transgender, you're imagining something that you're not. We often say when a person passes away, they're in a better location when we're looking at them in a casket dead. So I'm trying to find out, how are you getting this difference? How are you differentiating this stuff?
So when you die, you don't go to heaven. You have to be resurrected. So
How do you know
technically,
that?
when you die,
How do you
you're
know
not,
that?
because that's what the Bible says. So if you believe what the Bible says, then you know that you're really not in a better place. You're sleeping basically, until the second coming of Christ and he does the resurrection of his people and takes them to heaven.
So why do you believe what the Bible says? But if I tell you I am a woman, even though I have male genitalia, why don't you believe me, but you believe what's in the Bible?
Oh, I don't believe everything the Bible says. I think
What
so many things
what's
have
in
been
there
taken
you don't
out and
believe? What
added.
is in there that you don't believe?
Um, I don't want to get into the religion aspect of it. There's just things I don't believe. There's things that I do believe, but I know that the Catholics like took out a lot and added a lot of stuff to fit their agenda or what they wanted us to know. So I'm more spiritual than I am religious.
Is there any chance that one of the things they wanted us to know is that transgender people cannot exist?
Who knows? I don't know. I never
Okay,
got to read the missing pieces of the Bible.
fair enough. All right, I got to move it on. You know what we do here. Appreciate you coming in. As always, welcome back.
Can I say one last thing?
Absolutely.
I really respect you, and
Thank
you are a handsome liberal. Your name
you.
totally fits you.
Thank you. Come on
Okay.
back anytime. Flattery will get you everywhere. Appreciate the compliment. Thank you. All right,
Alrighty, have a
I'll
good
move
one.
it on. Looking in the
comment section. I don't know what's going on with TikTok this afternoon, but I don't normally get that. In fact, I got somebody that's been in my DMs over the last month or so. Some bearded guy telling me how I am not handsome. So it's really weird. And I actually told a guy, I was like, I would be more concerned if you were in my private message telling me how sexy I am. I said, thank you for coming to tell me you don't find me attractive. So I'll make sure I never drop a bar of soap around you. It's crazy that somebody would come in there and tell me that. Looking in the comments, I need to be able to get up there to be able to speak. How do I do that? Bottom left hand corner, you should see two little symbols there, and it'll let you do it from there. You are handsome. Thank you for those guys who are saying, people who are saying that. Appreciate that. But that's a question we're asking. You see it on the monitor behind me. I want to give you guys a clip and then I'll go straight back to the box. As always, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 15,000 likes. Got a small audience here. As always, the program is and shall remain MAGA friendly. MAGA are my preferred guests, but liberals are always welcome on the program. I want you to hear something, and this is why I feel confident of what is on the monitor behind me. I played it earlier. This is once again President Trump, number 45, speaking at CPAC a few weeks ago.
As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all with.
No one has ever heard of this. No one has ever heard of transgender. I thought when we were younger, they used to call them dressers who crossed. I don't know if the word is okay to say it, but the idea that no one has ever heard of this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You never seen Miss Doubtfire? You never seen an episode of MASH? Hell, I think Jack Tripper even dressed as a woman on some of the episodes of Three's Company. What does he mean no one has ever heard of this? I'm kind of curious about that. But the reason I played the clip is because he made it clear he wants Congress to only have two genders. If there are only two genders, that means the transgender community can no longer exist, at least in the eyes of government. That is what I'm talking about when I put on the screen behind me why the GOP, for lack of a better term, dislikes the transgender community. Did that speech sound like love to the transgender community? Did it sound like he's even interested in coexisting with them and giving them equal rights? You let me know. If you were transgender and you heard that, does it sound like that president really sees your community as okay, it's fair to exist? No. It sounds like he is totally against your community existing if you're transgender. Looking in the comments, why can't people just worry about themselves? Penny, great question. I don't know if there's ever been a time in America that people did that. Austin Bridge, I'll go back to the box in a minute, but you said he's talking about children. No, he's not. If he makes it so that the only genders are male and female, that means you could be living in the middle of rural Wyoming with no children around, and you still would be either a man or a woman from birth on your government paperwork. It has nothing to do with children. He's pretty much eradicating the existence of transgender people, at least in terms of the government. Nothing to do with children. Now, he did talk about playing on different teams and things like that. He did follow up with that. But the first part of that speech, just simply going by what's on your birth certificate, prevents you from becoming transgender. Period. Whether you have kids around you or not. Are you familiar with the program? Are you familiar with the program Posey? It's about transgender. No, I'm not. Let me know. I'll go and keep it moving. Rainy Kane. Good afternoon.
And you see what's on the monitor behind me. Rainy, good afternoon or good evening.
Hey, you, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Wow. You just put a whole lot of in there. The last caller and then 45. And so, how do you want me to start?
Well, start with what's on the monitor behind me. Is that wrong for me? What I have on the monitor behind me is using a word like hate. Is that incorrect? Is that wrong to use that?
No, it's absolutely correct. But they're bigots and they don't want to acknowledge that they're bigots, right? Bigots, I mean, it's true. People who don't understand what they're doing, you have a hatred for something that you don't understand. Like this last lady, the last caller you were talking to, she hadn't had no experiences with transgender people, but she was still adamant in saying they're pushing it on people. What pushing what? What does that mean? You don't even have. That's what I'm saying. I think the Republicans are being played, whatever their their what do you call it? Silos that they're in, they're all
Yeah.
being forced spoon fed this bullshit of bigotry, and they don't understand that they're bigots. If you literally believe that you live in the most freest nation on planet Earth, then those transgender people would have the freedom to be transgender. You would not have a presidential candidate literally trying to eradicate people who have existed for decades. And then he's trying to pretend like this is new. All of a sudden, under Joe
Yeah.
Biden, transgender people just came out of nowhere. Wait, come on.
Well, the thing about
Caitlyn
it is,
Jenner, Caitlyn
yeah,
Jenner freaking endorsed you, Trump. What are you talking about?
the thing about it is it's not new. What's new is they're trying to pursue equality. They've been in the shadows. They're coming out trying to get equality. That's the new part.
Is that new? I thought they've been fighting for equality the whole
No,
time. I mean,
no, they've
just 10
been
years
for
ago,
the
we
most
were
part.
talking,
A
huh?
lot of them have just been just like with the gay community before gay marriage. A lot of them were just in the shadows, often afraid to even admit what they were.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, I don't think it's new in the last 2 years. I just me and you're gonna disagree. I
No,
think
I
they've
agree
been
with
fighting
that.
for.
2 years, I
Oh,
agree with you there.
oh yeah. I was just saying. I think the position that these people are trying to put out is that the transgender people are coming after children, that the teachers are teaching the children, and it's like you can only control your own children. You cannot control others, right? And I think that's
But
what
where is
they.
that coming from? There's no significant history of transgender people abusing children. Where is that coming from?
Bigotry. It's the same as
Yeah.
when white people didn't want black people not to be in their spaces and sit on the same toilet and drink out of the same water fountain and be in there in the same job and live on their block. It's the same shit. These people are just
Yeah.
otherizing and they don't understand. You're just like your mother and your grandmother. That's who you are. You are just
Mm.
doing this to someone else. Now,
Wow.
we will agree. I will never accept pedophiles. But these transgender people are just trying to live their life in their skin. And I don't think that's a problem, in my opinion. I'll wrap it up because I know you got a lot of folks trying to get in your live. I appreciate you, my friend.
You're always welcome, girl. Good talk. Good talk. All right, looking in the comments, always good spirited.
With Rainey, as always, I say in every broadcast, it's not about whether you agree or disagree with the host. I do believe me and Rainey are more in a line on a hell of a lot of topics, but you could be 180 degrees in opposition to the host here. I'm not going to block, ban, or censor you, or even limit your time because you and I disagree. It's all about free speech, and my right to speak is no more important than yours. So don't ever worry about that here. But that is one of the questions I've often wondered is why is the LGBT community, particularly trans right now, but this was stated about the gay community before gay marriage was legal. Some of the same things we're talking about in regards to the trans community, if you went back 15, 20 years, they were saying the same thing about the gay community as well. But the question I'm trying to find out is why have they gathered such a strong reputation of abusing children? Where is that coming from? Is there like some type of study or some type of report that shows that abuse of children by folks that are transgender is, significantly higher? I hear that all the time. Where is that coming from? I'm going to go to the box and we'll make it happen with Stephen Curry. Tap the
Get your boy up to 25,000 likes. I appreciate you guys here with me on this Friday. You could be anywhere you want to be on this app. The fact that you're here with me is an honor as always. Good evening, Stephen Curry.
Yes. Hey, good evening.
Good evening. So what do you think about what's on the monitor behind me?
That's a good question. I think that they're trying to establish dominion over the state. They're trying to, with regards to other issues like abortion, they're doing the same thing. They're trying to basically establish, a dominion over the government. So, you don't see the Republicans adhering to their normal stance of smaller government is better because,
right.
Actually like dealing with like a woman's uterus or like someone's status as their sexuality, that's really intrusive. And I think the thing that strikes me about the whole thing is that, I think if you go after transgender people, who's next? Who's next on the menu?
But wait a minute. Let me stop you there because if they don't think they're necessarily going at the transgender. I want to ask you this question because this is coming straight out of the comments. One of the commentators stated, "Man, appreciate that Blash, yeehaw, that hat and mustache. Thank you." In the comments, you got I can't even pronounce his name, but listen to this comment and you can respond to it. So you want a grown ass man in the bathroom with your daughter? There is a issue. Do you see some type of issue with transgender? Like, say for instance, a guy like myself becomes the ugliest woman on earth, and I start identifying as a female. If I go into the female restroom, why is there this assumption that I'm going to go in there to be harmful to the inhabitants of that bathroom?
Well, the evidence shows that most abuse is from heterosexual men. So this whole idea that transgender people are somehow abusing children is just a specious argument from the start.
So you believe it's being made up out of thin air? I mean, because there's a lot of folks that are echoing this.
I think that is like the previous your previous commenter said. I think it's bigotry. I think it's bigotry. I think it's like lack of understanding of what they go through as a transgender person, because I don't think these people just, all of a sudden were born and decided to be transgender. It's not an easy life. And, you look at the suicide rate of transgender people, it's very high compared to the general population. And so
I have to ask this question. I asked this earlier in the live. I asked just as a rhetorical question, but I'll ask it to you specifically. What do you believe can be done to make it so that these two communities, talking about the Republicans and talking about the transgender community, that they can feel comfortable coexisting with each other? Because currently the Republican community is like, I don't want you around my children. You got folks saying, I don't want it in my face. I don't want you shoving it down my throat. Is it possible? How can we make it so that these two communities could coexist?
That's a difficult question to answer because I think it goes to what's in your heart. And if you have bigotry in your heart, if you are just going to disrespect someone who's transgender because they're transgender, it's going to take a lot of hearts being turned. Just the same with, racism or sexism or any other ism there is out there. I mean, there is, there. I mean, which we already know there is racism and sexism in this society.
And
So
so you think what the Republican Party towards the transgender community is doing exactly what I have on the monitor behind me. You believe it is hate.
I believe it's hate, and I think that there are some Christians that have perverted their religion beyond any recognition to, what I was brought up with is, a loving God, a loving Christ, and all that stuff. I feel that the way that they're approaching it as Christians is anything but that.
Yeah.
And
I
especially
do
in
tend to
Florida.
agree. Yeah, I do tend to agree if God is a loving God, there's from my own personal analysis when it comes to the GOP towards the LGBT community, yeah, there's no love there. I don't see it. But I gotta move it on, Stephen. Appreciate you coming in here.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely a pleasure. Come on back anytime.
I appreciate it.
Real
Thank
quick
you.
real quick in the comments, it was advising me. Looks like it's in Money Save Humanity is saying there's another user using your handsome name for his page. On what platform? I'm curious. I have not heard this. This is news to me. If anybody else has seen this or send me a link to it, I'd be curious to see it. I do have two profiles. This one here in a backup. One says the handsome liberal, and the second one is they both have my picture on them, but the other one says the handsome liberal without the final L. So if you've seen it somewhere else, feel free to let me know, and I'll see if I can follow up with that. Looking in the comments, yes, folks say he's on TikTok. I'd be curious to see it. I mean, I don't have any rights to the name, so to speak, but yeah, I'd be curious to see it. Maybe I'd go in and talk to him. Never know. We could have some fun. All right, let me go back to the box, the Podfather Show. Good afternoon or good evening. I keep saying good afternoon because I'm used to doing this show in the afternoon. But Podfather, good evening.
Long time listener, second time caller.
Appreciate you coming back. So you see
Yeah,
what's on the monitor behind me. Am I getting it wrong?
we did. Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to say, following up on our last conversation, I felt that we had a pretty decent conversation. Otherwise, I wouldn't be coming back. I thought that you were fair, even though we didn't come to an agreement.
And that happens. That happens. I'm
Yeah.
not here to be a know-it-all. I don't have all the damn answers.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not always going to come to agreement. Sometimes I often get schooled, which is what I'm trying to get you to do here. Why does the GOP
Well,
appear in
I
my
mean,
personal analysis?
I don't personally try to
So
think that much of myself to think that I'm here to school anyone.
okay,
Um,
all right, that's
I just
fine.
speak on based on what I know. So it's
Okay,
I will say that while I cannot speak for every Republican out there, because I'm sure there's some that do hate transgender people, to say that there's not would be disingenuous of me. So, but I can speak on the ones that I know, perhaps that I just happen to associate myself with a better class of Republicans than those out there which you're referring to. But I personally do not know any Republicans that hate transgender people.
fair enough. Let me ask you this
I
question.
could.
Yeah, let me ask you this question in regards to the word hate. If a person hated this group of people, give me some traits or some signs that you would look at and say, yeah, that person has hate towards them. What would they have to do for you to feel that it is a case of hatred?
Just I guess you could say um, unwarranted, verbal attacks towards them when I mean nothing's been done to that person, on a personal level, I guess not today's, not the in the way that it's just thrown around loosely today, but I would say a true case of real bigotry in action. You know, I mean, I guess that
Well,
would be an example that would show hatred
I'll
towards
let
those
you
people.
continue, but yeah, I'll let you continue. What about blaming them for abusing children when there's no significant evidence of them doing
Well,
so? You said throwing around
I
taxes,
I, I
saying
get
negative things about them.
I guess I guess to make a blanket statement is wrong. To make a blanket statement about anything is wrong.
But is
But
it
I will,
hatred?
you know, I will in good faith stay focused on what we're talking about here, and we're talking about the hate towards, you know, shown towards transgender people. And I would say that to say that if someone were to say, you know, transgender people, you know, hurt children, if they said that in the context where they truly meant every single one of them, then of course that's an asinine argument. I mean,
Well, you know,
no, even I
hear me
don't
out.
believe that. Even I,
Yeah, but if you got Ron DeSantis passing laws so that this information, stuff about this community cannot be discussed in schools, and he's stating that it's harmful to children and suggesting that if people go into the wrong bathroom, it's putting children at risk, isn't that indeed saying that this community is dangerous to kids?
I would say it can definitely send that message. If he's going to get up there and make statements like that, I do believe that he owes the people of Florida a clarification on his statements, and he definitely needs to elaborate on them so that we can determine whether or not he means it as a blanket statement or if there's other contextual meaning there which we're not picking up on. I would
Okay,
believe
well
that, yeah,
let me
someone in
ask it
his
to you this
position
way.
absolutely owes us a larger, more in-depth explanation of what he's saying, and we're
Well,
not getting that from him.
he has given us an in-depth explanation. He believes he's doing it to save children from abuse.
Well, and that's not to say that it doesn't, but it again, you know, is he meaning that every single transgender person is going to hurt a child, or does he mean that he's just trying to mitigate the possibility thereof? And no, he has not stated either side of those. He hasn't.
But wait a minute. Whatever happened to anytime there's an infraction from police, we hear 99% of police are good, or don't don't target the entire law enforcement community based on the actions of a few bad apples. Where is that in the transgender community? I don't see that happening. I see we're passing blanket laws and suggesting that the entire community is bad to children.
Well, I mean, and again, to reiterate, did I not just agree with you on that? Did I not just
No.
say twice now?
Well,
One
but you
time of
disagree
which
with
you
what's on
actually
the
cut me.
sign. You disagree with what's on the sign, but I'm telling you, I asked you to define what would make you say
Because what
someone.
you have on the sign is a blanket. Because what you have on the sign is a blanket statement.
But I asked you
It is.
what would
It
make what's
reads
on the
as
sign.
though you're saying all Republicans hate transgender people, and I find that to
Okay.
be very disingenuous.
But then when I asked you to define what would lead you to believe someone has hate in their heart, you said by making blanket statements and accusing people of stuff. And I'm pointing
No,
out
no, no,
how
no, no,
so
no,
many
no, no,
how
no,
Republicans.
no, 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 no. Actually, when you said that, I actually, my answer to that specific question was if someone were to express a direct term of real bigotry towards them, real intolerance towards them,
What's bigotry?
show
What's
actual
bigotry?
signs of true hate towards
What's
them.
bigotry?
That's what I
What's
said.
bigotry? What
That's
do you
what I
mean by
said.
expressive? What's bigotry to you?
I get unwarranted, irrational hate.
Suggesting that they're harmful to children. Is that unwarranted and
Intolerance is
irrational?
intolerance is a better word. Unwarranted, irrational intolerance.
What is intolerance to you?
I'm just going to say intolerance to me is the textbook definition of intolerance. You don't have a lack of tolerance for something. You have no patience for it. I mean, come on here. As old as you
Okay,
are, do you really need every
going with
single? Like, okay, can I finish a single sentence? I mean, why do you even need me in this debate, or would you just rather talk to yourself?
you're moving all over the place. I'm trying to keep you focused. Go ahead. I'll let you go.
You're
Go.
moving all over the place. I'm answering your questions. You're the only one asking questions. So if anybody's moving all over the place, it's you. I'm just answering them, dude.
You got the floor.
Okay, well, ask me one question and I will answer it.
Okay,
But allow me
listen
to
to.
answer it.
Okay, I'll play this, a few seconds of this, and I'm gonna ask you a question.
Of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female.
Does that sound like tolerance of transgender to you?
No.
Okay, that's all I
Thought you were
wanted
going
to
to trick
know.
me up, didn't you?
No, you mentioned intolerance. I just want you to define it. But if you agree that that sounds like intolerance of transgender, I think we're on the same page.
Well, I
Do
mean, as
you?
far as intolerance goes, yeah, but I still don't believe that every Republican hates transgender people.
Okay, fair enough. What about this guy though? Do you think this guy, who, as you admitted, is intolerant, do you think this guy has hatred towards transgender?
Man, I'm not gonna make one assumption over a person's views based off of a single statement that he made like that any more for him than I would for you. I would not leave this live and go out there and tell other people, hey, the handsome liberal, the handsome Democrat, or whatever it is. I would not go out there and say this dude, jumps all over the place and then accuses the guests of doing it just because it happened to me one time. That would be that would be disingenuous of me. That would be not acting in good faith of me. I'm not going to do that to him over one statement any more than now. If I heard multiple statements, then I'd have grounds to make that decision. But anything other than that now would just be pure speculation.
I asked you what denotes hate. You said intolerance. I played his clip. You said that qualifies
Yeah,
as
the
intolerance.
comment he
And then
made,
all
the comment he made absolutely expressed intolerance, and I still stand by that. But you're asking me to give you what his deep heartfelt feelings are based on one statement. Nobody in this planet can do that. No one,
so are
not
you
off a
saying
single statement.
so in other words, it's not intolerance, it has to be multiple intolerant statements. Did I lose
I
you?
mean, I guess you could say, I guess you could say that everybody makes statements which come across as intolerant. I mean,
Okay.
even you've done that to me in this live when you accused me of jumping all over the place. When it wasn't me doing it, it was you. You were
Okay.
intolerant of me
So
doing that.
so if he passes a law that you feel the law is intolerant, he still might not have hatred in his heart.
If the law were passed based word for word, verbatim, explicitly off what was worded there in that statement, yes, I believe that law would be intolerant.
But would he be? Would he be with that law being passed that you admit is intolerant, and him being the author of that law, would that make him have hatred in his heart towards this community?
I mean, I would definitely lean that way, yes. But again, I'm not going to make a single speculation based on someone's heartfelt feelings off of a single statement. I'm not going to do it.
All
That
right,
may
fair
be
enough.
your way. That may be the Democratic way, but it's not this Republican's way.
Okay, fair enough. I got to move it on. You're always welcome back, Podfather. Come on back through anytime. All right. Moving the program on. And that, like I said, folks, it's not always about, whatever the case may be. The man said I wasn't giving him time to speak, so my apologies. I certainly want to give folks a chance to speak. But, yeah, sometimes when something is said, I do interrupt because the conversations can go anywhere. According to him, I was doing it. So, fair enough. But if you notice, just to bring it up, he stated what defined intolerance to him. Gave him a statement. He admitted it was intolerant.
Does that mean it's hate now? No, he hasn't done it enough for me to say. So I don't know where to go with that. Which is why I followed up by asking him, well, does he have to say intolerant things multiple times now? I don't know. Looking in the comments, though. The caller probably used to date a trans woman. That what? The caller probably used to date a trans woman that he thought was so hot, it just got embarrassed. Theodore, yikes. Then he backpedaled. Megoro, yeah, if I gave my analysis, and he's always welcome back on the program, but if I gave my analysis, yeah, that definitely came across as backpedaling. I mean, for you to say this defines hatred, then I present this to you. You admit, yes, this is what I'm thinking it is, but somehow it doesn't denote hatred because, well, I only see one of it. I only see it happening once. I don't know. I know people have a different opinion. Bro was cherry picking, right? But Trump has said, yeah, he has said it multiple times, but it doesn't matter if he says it multiple times or if he says it once. If he makes that into law, you cannot be transgender in the eyes of government. It literally will eradicate that group of people. What else do you got to do for it to qualify as hate? You're literally getting rid of the group of people entirely, at least in the eyes of government. Let me move it on. I think that says Southern Country Boy. I love the name. Good evening. Welcome to the.
Oh, nothing like a good old fashioned country boy. Good evening, country boy.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm assuming you've been listening in.
Yes, sir.
Tell me what I got wrong.
It ain't that you got wrong. You just didn't ask the right question.
Oh, tell me what should I have asked?
Well, what was his true intent behind what Trump said? Is it hatred for a community, or was it meaning that he was trying to protect someone else?
Well,
Meaning that, do you have
how?
a daughter?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Okay. Imagine your daughter who's on, I don't know, kickboxing. And imagine that she has worked all her entire life and dedicated 6 hours a day, 5 hours a day to her sport to be the best that she can be. And she is at the top of her class. But yet some dude that was mediocre in his class all of a sudden puts on a wig and a dress and comes and beats the dog mess out of your daughter to the point of hospitalizing her because he decided to make a choice. Now, what if Trump meant that he was trying to protect your daughter versus actually being hatred against a specific community?
That's a fair question. My immediate response to that would be, why not just pass a law that prevents people from playing for teams that they were not born as? Why all the
Well,
other
that's
stuff
what
of telling?
DeSantis did. That's what DeSantis did.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yet
but
he's getting
they're
ridiculed
doing a
for it.
hell of a lot more than just that. They're going well beyond just sports teams.
But you understand what I'm saying, though? I mean,
I would I would be more I
the
would be
intent
more willing
sometimes
to
may be a
more
little
likely to
different than what is
understand
actually
it.
presented.
Yeah, I would be more
You know.
likely to understand it if it stuck to that particular issue you're talking about. But they're
All right.
branching it everywhere.
Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you
Sure.
point blank bluntly.
Sure.
Would you want? I'm gonna give you a prime example because now in airports they have unisex bathrooms.
Okay.
And that's what
Okay.
they have. So
Okay. What's the question?
I'm not comfortable with my wife going into a bathroom with a straight man or a gay man or a transgender man or whatever. I'm not comfortable being in there. I've got I got friends that's gay, and I'm not against any of it. Everybody can be who they want to be. But am
No.
I
Not
comfortable
if Trump
enough?
gets his way, you cannot be who you want to be. If this goes into law, no, you would not be who you want to be.
Well, how do you know that he's not trying to separate genders by, okay, take the bathroom. They should, if I'm not against transgender community and whatsoever. Anybody can be who they want to be. Okay, but instead of forcing you to go to a bathroom with somebody you may or may not agree with, forcing a woman to go to a bathroom with somebody they may not agree with, if they're going to spend the money to redo these bathrooms, why not make a man's, a woman's, and a unisex? Make 3. Don't force everybody to go to one, because you're forcing, and I'm gonna say, and I don't know what the percentage is, but just say if it's 10% of the community is transgender or gay or whatever. Why are you forcing 90% of the world to abide by something to appease 10% of the world?
I understand your question. I guess the pushback I would have is, why is this such an issue? Is there a huge issue of folks from the LGBT community going into a bathroom and harming children? Why is this coming up?
Well, and that side of it is not what a lot of people is worried about, is whether you agree or disagree. Okay, I mean, you understand? You ever seen the movie that Will Smith played in where he was robbing all the people?
Yes.
What was the last part of the whole movie where they showed the guy 55 his whole
It's
entire
been so
day?
long. I know the movie, but it's been years
Yeah,
since I've seen it. I can't
but
remember.
they showed the guy. It's called programming, whatever you call it, mind programming or whatever you call it. But they showed the guy 55 everywhere he went all day long. He's seen 55, 55, 55, 55. And then at the very end, when they give him the binoculars to pick out the number, they put that big dude in a jersey that had number 55 on it, which he picked it. It's called predictive programming.
Right.
That is the actual mind control thing. Why do you think that every time you see a commercial, everybody knows what a Mountain Dew bottle looks like, but they show you the actual word Mountain Dew? Why is that? Because
Okay.
it's predictive programming. You understand what I'm
So
saying?
you think
That's
the
what everybody's talking
LGBT
about.
community, you think the transgender community is trying to program your child?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what the society is what people means. Not that they're trying to force a transgender into my house and force me to like and love and become, start dating a transgender person. That's what they're not talking about when they're trying about shoving it down your throat. It's just like when you see the commercial and they're trying to shove that Mountain Dew down your throat, it's called predictive programming. So everywhere you look and see on the news, commercials, everywhere you see, they're predictive programming you about transgenders.
So
And the
I'm
people
gonna
that
ask you the
don't
question I
believe,
asked the previous caller. If you're talking about everywhere you look and see something's predictive programming, how do you feel about Christians reading the Bible to strangers? Is that trying to program them?
well, most Christians don't read the Bible to strangers. A church has an open door where you can volunteer to
But what
go in
about
or
the
out.
ones that do? What about the ones that do? Are they trying to program people?
No, they're trying to change them, and they probably, and I don't agree with that, because like in the town that I live in, there's a guy that stands every Friday. He stands up on the corner, and he's preaching and holding signs up and all that. To me, he's putting it out there. You have the choice whether you stop and listen to him or not. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
don't you
If you
have the
do, you
choice
don't.
whether
Now,
you want to be up?
do I agree with what he does? No. I mean, I don't. I'm saying that I agree with what he
But
does.
but
You know what
but
I'm saying?
don't you also have the
But
choice whether you want to become LGBT or not?
well, you do. But why? Kids is very programmable. Adults,
Can they be? Can you, if you promote religion to them, are you trying to program them?
well, that's a parent's job. I don't believe they should do it in schools. The only thing they should be teaching in schools is math, science, English. They shouldn't be teaching anything else outside of that.
But let's take your Will Smith film example. Number 55 is everywhere. In God We Trust. God Bless America is the anthem. The word God is all over the place, just like the number 55 in your movie. You don't see programming in that.
Yeah, it is predictive programming. But as adults, we have a choices to make what we do or what we don't do.
Then why does it, when it comes to,
But
to the LGBT community, if you got
children
the
can't do
choice to
that.
do it and everything else, why doesn't that same choice to do it apply to the LGBT community? We're making it sound like when it comes to the LGBT community, somehow you're going to lose your ability to choose and just do it like some type of zombie. I don't get it.
No, I'm not saying that me personally. I'm just saying because I'm the type of person that I'm from the outside and I always look in. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's what you do. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people looks at. And what they're it's that fear of it's always that fear of what if. You know what I'm saying? I believe
But
what I
is
believe.
that a
I believe what I believe.
justifiable?
I just don't want nobody
But
to try to force me to believe what I don't want to believe.
but then you would hate to. Then in other words, if you don't want somebody trying to force you to believe what you don't want to believe, you would remove Christianity from any public forum, like no drag queen shows in public, no spiritual readings in public, right?
I mean, it to that part is each his own. I mean, if you're gonna do one, you got to do the other. And they've removed and look, they have removed God from almost everything in the world outside of the money. Outside of money, they're trying to erase religions almost all the way around the world. The only thing they hadn't
And
so
according
far
to
was money.
you, if they are trying to erase a religion around the world, as you say, according to you, it's a good thing because now we're not programming people. You support that, then, right?
I support people being who they want to be. You know what I'm
You
saying? I
no,
do.
you
But now at the
you.
same time, I support what I believe and what I don't believe. I'm not saying it's like it's forcible. I don't believe forcing anything on anybody. The whole Bible tells you that God gives you a choice. It is your choice to be who you want to be. If you want to follow God or don't follow God. And if you trust in God and believe in God, then you want to follow him. If you don't, then you don't. And it is what it is. At the end of the day, if I'm right by following the Bible, then I'm gonna go to heaven. If
Let
I'm
me.
not, then I gotta suffer the
Here's
consequences
an
of the decisions
example.
that I
Here's
make.
an example. During Christmas time, if I'm sitting at home watching TV and somebody knock on my door and they're singing Christmas carols to me, which are religious in nature, is that forcing religion down my throat?
Well, how many people that don't believe in God still gets Christmas presents every year?
Yeah, that's a. I mean, that's true. That happens, but that didn't
How
answer the
many people
question I
get
just
Christmas
asked you,
presents
though.
that don't believe in God? They
But that,
accept they don't want to believe God, but boy, they'll sure take them gifts like it's the next thing coming to them.
yeah, but you didn't answer the question I just asked. Is that shoving religion down my throat?
Uh, no more than a salesperson coming to your house. You don't have to open the door. If a vacuum
Then you
cleaner
don't.
salesman comes to my door, I don't have to open the door.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm trying to make is I'm trying to figure out what the LGBT community is doing that's so different than the Christian community, where you're okay
But
with one and you
you
do
have to
the other
understand.
one that's trying to force it on you.
Well, for one, you have to understand that most Republicans don't hate the things that you see. Now, you can pay whatever you want on it, but like most Republicans don't hate a lot of things that people say. Now, do you have a few radicals? You got a few radicals anyway. Do you have a few you have radical liberals? Hell yeah. There's radicals on both sides. But just like you can't put all of Republicans under one concept. You know what I'm saying?
What's the
Just
difference?
like
I'm gonna ask you the
Trump.
same thing
Trump
I
is a
asked.
good example. Trump's a good example. You got a hundreds of thousands of Republicans out there that don't actually that don't support Trump, but they're Republicans. But if sure as the world, if you say you're Republican, oh, you're a MAGA follower, you're in a cult. Well, no, I'm not in a cult. I'm a Republican, but that don't mean that I follow Trump. That don't mean that I live by what Trump does or Trump
Okay.
says. But just because I'm a Republican, now all of a sudden I'm a MAGA supporter, and
Well, yeah, but that's just because I'm a liberal, that means I'm a socialist. I get your point. But what I'm trying to ask is, I'm gonna ask you what I asked the previous caller. What would a person do for you to say, yes, this person has hate in their heart? What would they have to do for you to say, yeah, that person hates?
Well, first of all, like I said, that was I started that whole conversation out. You would have to like played the clip of Trump and you played a small part. But then what was the first thing I
It
said?
doesn't get
I
any
give you
better.
I give you a rebuttal. I give you a rebuttal to that to start off with. You know,
Sure.
you went one sided, but you went to the glass half full, and I turned it to the glass half empty.
I
Unless
don't
he would
get
have,
your
he would
half
have to
empty.
publicly.
I don't get your half empty comparison. When you hear Trump speak in regards to the transgender community, do you think that sounds like he wants to tolerate or coexist with them?
Well, in my from my point of view, going to everybody's putting DeSantis in the same book as Trump, but he's trying to eliminate guys and girls from playing in each other's sports.
That's
You know
it.
what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So
He's not trying to do anything more than that. That's it. Just trying to protect sports.
that's the biggest drive in what he's doing. Look at the girl right now who was the fastest swimmer in the world. The guy was ranked number 300 in the men's and went to be a transgender and tied her. So how is that even fair to the girl who had spent 20 something years busting her ass to try to
So
I mean,
why
how is that
are
fair?
folks? Let me ask you a question. Why do you think somebody? Because obviously children don't drink beer. Why would somebody take a machine gun to a can of Bud Light?
Uh, it's not about the that's a weird subject that you have to understand. Most guys that and I don't and listen, I may offend somebody, okay, by what I'm fitting to say, but it's just the truth. I've talked to a bunch of guys that actually work at Bud Light because in the job field that I'm in, I've talked to a bunch of guys that, okay, 95% of most of your Bud Light drinkers are damn hardcore men.
That
Okay,
hate transgender people.
don't that they hate transgender people, but it's more of a society of why did my company decide to, and it's not against because listen, they quit drinking Bud Light and went to Miller Lite. Well, guess
Wait a
what?
minute.
Miller Lite supports transgender people too. Every beer company supports transgender people, but it's how they presented it,
So
how Bud Light presented it.
let me here's where I'm confused. If you take me and you put my face on a box of Captain Crunch, and the eaters of that cereal get so angry they go out and take a machine gun and shoot the box of cereal up, you're going to tell me I should not think that they hate me at all?
It depends on the circumstances of how they presented you.
They're shooting the box of cereal with a firearm. What else do I need to know?
What if you was a black? It depends on whether you was a black Nazi or whether you was just a black man and they would shoot you because you was a black man. You got to know the
I don't know.
circumstances behind it.
I don't care if they're doing it because my name is Tim. I am led to believe that because you're shooting this box up, you don't like something about me. Something about me you really hate that much that would make you go out and buy rounds to shoot up a box with my picture on it. Maybe it's because you mentioned Nazis or African American, or maybe I'm too tall, whatever the case may be. There is something about me that you clearly hate to the point where you went out and got a gun and shot up the box. That's hatred. That's the point I'm trying to make.
But that you don't understand. It's not hatred. He was making a point.
With a machine gun. Is that
Rednecks
how you
like
normally
toys.
make points?
Rednecks make points with machine guns. That's just what rednecks do.
All right. So if I got pissed off at the United States and burned the flag, you'd be okay because I'm just making a point.
Let me ask you a question. If I had on a purple shirt and you just hated a purple shirt and you beat me up, did you beat me up because I'm Brit and I'm who I am, or would
I
you
would
hate me
if,
because I
I
beat
would
up?
say this: if your garment made me start a fight with you, I'm not going to start the fight and try to deny that I hated something about you. Then clearly I hate purple, but it
But you
is
didn't hate.
hate.
No. You didn't hate me. You hated the shirt that I had on.
Okay.
That don't mean that
So
has
you
no
admit,
clue that you
but
hated
that
me.
is an admission that there is hatred in there somewhere.
No, not hatred as much as you just disliked.
Now you're changing the word hatred to dislike.
Well, it's the same
It's
thing.
hatred if you go through all of that.
Hatred is what's in your heart.
Okay, I can't control that, but yeah, I don't know. I guess the question, the problem I'm having is, in my opinion, some folks on the right are moving the bar for what denotes as hatred. I mean, like with my last caller, he gave me his definition, and when I met the definition, it somehow moved away from me. I don't. To me, if you start
Well,
shooting something up simply because something changed on it, on a can, for instance, if you shoot a can because something changed on that can, you clearly hate the change of that can. You hate what's on it.
But
I don't see how we could go ahead.
if I punched you, are you gonna punch me back?
Yeah,
What is that? Defense?
yeah.
Same thing.
You're
You know what I'm saying?
shooting transgender in self-defense.
Well, no, it's the same thing. As a community, just say I don't believe in being gay. I'm not gay. I don't believe in being gay. Do I hate the gay people? No. But it's my belief that I don't think, just say if I don't believe that I don't believe in, think that people should be gay. Does that mean I hate a gay person?
Well,
No.
what's the
That's just
difference?
a belief in
If,
mine. It's a belief that I have, but now all of a sudden, I'm a homophobe. I'm against them.
well,
I hate them. I want to hurt them. No, it's not.
think
It's just
about what
I
you're
don't
saying.
particularly
Think about what you're
disagree
saying.
with
I don't
what
think
they
you
do.
should exist. You're basically saying I don't think you should exist, but I don't hate you. What's the difference?
It's not that. If you're wearing an orange shirt right now, do I hate you because you're wearing an orange shirt if orange is not my favorite color? No, I just don't particularly like orange. I should have a choice that I don't like orange. It has nothing to do with you, and it's not that I'm hating you. I just don't like orange. I actually do like orange because I'm a Miami Hurricane fan, but
All
I mean,
right,
but
country boy. All right, I got to move it on, but man, it's always a spirited debate. Come on back in here, man. This is our first time talking.
second,
Okay, good. Let's go for a third. Appreciate you coming in, man.
yes, sir.
Hey, good talk. All right,
You too.
moving on in the comment section.
So as you probably can tell, it's not about agreeing or disagreeing. I disagree with a hell of a lot of my guests, but then again, there's some who I totally agree with. As always, the program is and shall remain MAGA friendly. This is what we do here. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 40,000 likes. We can make that happen. 40,000 likes if you're generous. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Show your boy some love. We don't ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. I'm still, I guess I'm still confused how you can be so much against the advances, the equality, the existence of a community while not hating them. I'm going to assume that no one would look at the Republican Party and say it's love for the LGBT community. By the way, Greg, yeah, appreciate the hat and mustache. Thank you guys for your generosity. Always a pleasure, always an honor, rather, to receive that. As always, you guys could be anywhere you want to be on this app. The fact that you're rolling with your boy on a Friday night, I do appreciate that. The Republicans freed the slaves. That is 100% true. They freed the slaves from the Confederate South. And for some reason, they decided to start honoring the Confederates. I don't get that. You don't like brown folks, okay? The T is the destruction of women's rights. You know, and obviously you're talking about trans. I can't totally disagree with that. I don't think it's completely destroying or eradicating women's rights, but there's no a way I can deny that it's not a challenge to some of them, because you got the individual that was on the Bud Light can. I believe that person also did a Maxi Pad commercial. People are pissed off because obviously being transgender, you have never had a period. So it's not. I don't think women would lose rights in the transgender community, but there would be clashes. I can't deny there will be some clashes because the sports conversation we had, even as a liberal, I am definitely pro the LGBT community. I am in favor of the LGBT community. I'm no fan of letting someone like me identify as a woman and then start playing on female sports teams. I do believe that as the LGBT, or better, let's just say T, because the whole argument is about that last acronym. Lesbian, gay, and bisexuals have been, for the most part, accepted in society. It is the T. So let's just call it what it is. But I do believe that at the end of the day, there should be a transgender league. If there start to be a significant amount of transgender people, they're going to have to create their own league, because there is no denying that that is biologically unfair. You don't have to have love or hatred to that community to admit that men are biologically stronger than women. There is some unfairness there. But I disagree that the entire conversation is simply about protecting children from having their records broken in school. They're doing a hell of a lot more than that. I mean, you got Ron DeSantis down in Florida, for instance. He is attacking every avenue of LGBT lifestyle there is. I mean, up to including they no longer are teaching about AIDS in school. He's removing that. Some would suggest that it was a gay illness or something like that. He is the tentacles of what he's doing are everywhere. It's to the point where even folks on the right are like, dude, you might be going a bit too far. So, looking in the comments, why can't it just be live and let live no matter what side of the fence you're on belief wise? Because they believe children are in danger. And that's going to be a rallying call for anybody, liberal or Republican. If folks believe that their children are in harm's way, they're not going to live and let live with that. I mean, that's the whole issue that was behind banning or blocking interracial marriage. If you let an interracial couple get married and have children, well, the children are not going to know their identity. They're going to have a problem knowing who they are because they don't know what their identity is. That was the whole argument that prevented interracial marriage for decades, is that it was harming children. I strongly believe, from the liberal side of the aisle, that we are using the protection of children to mask hatred. And as I pointed out, there are so many different avenues of what the GOP is doing in regards to the LGBT community, or better yet, the T community, that goes well above and beyond protecting children. What I don't get is how we feel confident that a child can handle a rifle, but they can't handle an LGBT teacher or a movie. You can, I mean, there's a video online of somebody showing a girl how to shoot an Uzi, rapid fire, small Uzi pistol. But for some reason, this same child would go nuts if a drag queen walked in front of him. I don't understand that. I just don't understand it. Anyhow, folks, I do gotta terminate the live because it is dinner time. Appreciate you guys rolling with me on this Friday night. 43,000 likes. Can't hate on that for a Friday night. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I gotta go.